Hello, welcome to the Math Tutor channel. This is the Math Tutor. Subscribe, like, watch, share with your friends. Today we are going to do some a sensitive part that confuses a lot of students, and this is the making subject of the formula. Now, this is under algebra because it deals mainly with letters. But before we start on answering any question, let's start with some of the rules that you have to pay attention to in order to make the subject of the formula. Well, first thing first, making subject of the formula, what does that mean? Making subject means that the letter of interest or the variable of interest is left alone on one side of the equal sign. Alright? So for example, you've seen questions like make X the subject, make P the subject, make A the subject. What they have told you to make the subject should always remain alone on one side of the equal sign. Alright? So there are some rules that you will be following. Rule number one, when the variable of interest, when I say variable of interest, it means that that letter or that element in the equation that they have told you to make the subject. So if the variable of interest, is being bound by another variable or by it's next to another letter, but how is it next to another letter? If it is next to another letter by adding, okay, then you will make it subject by taking the other letter that is not of interest to the other side of the equal sign by subtracting. Basically in math, the opposite of adding is subtracting. And if the variable of interest is bound, okay, is bound by multiplying, then the other one that you want to take on the other side, we shall see some examples, is taken by dividing. The opposite of multiplication is dividing, and vice versa. Dividing is multiplying. Alright, so these are the major ones, and also another rules, this is if the variable of interest, hope you understand this by now, is bound, okay, by adding, subtract, by multiplying. Okay, another thing you should note that if we want to get rid of what? The square root. If you've seen any square roots in your working, you get rid of it by squaring both sides of the equation. Okay, square, we shall see how this is done. This is another rule. And then number two, if you've seen what we call a cube root, or if the number is cubed, you cube both sides, okay, of the equation. Now in case also, by the way, vice versa is true. Square root, square, square, square root. Cube root, you cube both sides, and if it is a cube on both sides, you cube root. So it is either way. So I'll put two arrows facing both directions, just like I did here. Okay, so these are some of the basic rules of making subject. Alright, we shall start with very simple examples. Apply the rules. I'll write here on the sides so you can follow. For example, alright, let's get some quick examples. Okay, look at this. This is very interesting. Make x the subject, and they write something like this. Okay, they will write 2x minus 5y is equal to p. Look at that. Now look, the x is bound by 2 next to a 2, but in between 2 and x there is nothing, meaning that there is a multiplication. Alright, remember what we talked about multiplication. You can break the bond between 2 and x by dividing. Dividing what? Remember, we are interested in x, so we have to take anything that is not x away, so we divide by that element. So in this case it is 2. I hope you are understanding. So let's start making x a subject. So we say 2x. Look at the other part, 5y. 5y is bound to this 2x by subtracting. Okay, so we have to first get rid of the 5y, because 5y doesn't have what we need, doesn't have anything to do with x. So to get rid of the 5y, we have to look at this rule. It is bound with what we want by a minus, so we have to change it, and it becomes a plus. Becomes a plus. So here we add it on both sides like that. Right, so here it will cancel out, so it has crossed over. Okay, rule number 1. Now we have 2x equals p plus 5y. Now 2x is bound, x is bound by 2. There is a multiplication sign in between them, and when we are multiplying we divide. So since we want x, we shall just divide by that is not x. So in that way we have made x the subject of this. Alright, okay, I hope you are understanding. Let's get another example and we apply the rules. Another example would be this. Make x the subject. Make x the subject. Okay, we have y equals 3 into x plus a. Now they want x the subject. So step 1 is to look and see the x that we want. How is it bound with other elements? Okay, so first things first, you can start by taking away this 3 from this part. So taking away this 3, you look and see that 3 is bound by what? To the right hand side. There is nothing in between, so it is multiplication. And whenever there is multiplication, we take that element by dividing. So we shall rewrite the solution. Okay, so we divide by 3 on both sides. So it moves away from here to the other side. Now we have y over 3. Now we have this. Now what element is still next to x is a, and it is bound by addition. So to get rid of this a, if it is adding, we subtract. So that means that we shall subtract a on both sides. So a will come this side, and then it will be this side, we shall be remaining with only x, and the moment we achieve this, we have made x the subject. I hope you are understanding and following carefully. Let's look at another example. Make x the subject, and the question is y equals x squared plus t. Alright, so look, we are interested in x. Alright, we are interested in x, so you have to look around x. X is bound by what signs? Multiplication, addition. So you realize that there is a plus t. t is bound to x by plus, so it has to change to minus and goes to the other side. Alright, now look, we need x, but x is still not alone, it has a power 2. So, and we said that the moment there is a power 2, look at this, we say that square root, we're squaring both sides. If there is a square root, we square both sides, and vice versa. So if there is a square, okay, a square is this power 2, we square root both sides. So in order to get rid of this power 2, we do that, square root both sides, and when we square root both sides, this 2 cancels with that root. Alright, now the x is now alone, so we shall say x is equal to, you write the other side the way it is, and this is making x the subject. Okay, same applies to the cube root and everything involved. Let's check out another example. Still make x a subject. They can tell you any letter, as long as you know what to do, it won't be very difficult. So 3y is equal to root 5x minus 9a. They want x. So let's start. Okay, I'm giving you some minutes to reason it out. Okay, hope you got it. So we are interested in 5x, x. So we are going to take the 9a to the other side. Because it is bound by minus to become a plus, so we shall say 3y plus 9a. Okay, now the 9a has moved away from the right hand side. Now we have that on the right hand side. But look, x is bound by two things. It is bound by a 5 and it is bound by a root. So we have to first get rid of the root. And to get rid of the root, remember this, square root, you square both sides. So just like we did in this example here. Okay, this is 2, this is 3, example 3. We have to square both sides. This is how we get rid of the root. And if this was a cube root, we would power to 3. Now, the square makes the root sign disappear. Alright, so now we have 3y plus 9a whole square equals 5x. Alright, now the 5 is bound to the x by multiplying, so we have to divide, like we said in rule number 2. If you remember, I can show you the rules. Look, rule number 2, multiplying, divide, divide, multiply. So the 5 cancels. Now we have x remaining alone, and that gets 9a squared all over 5. So we've made x the subject. Okay, so I hope this discussion helped you with the rules. Make some notes, share with your friends, and comment. You can comment a question, you can ask me any question, I'll answer it. Subscribe, like, share, and I'll see you at the top. Bye bye.